it seems like it's been a long time for all three of you to connect since being an MCO.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
Esther and I, we spoke pretty often, but not
Oh, yeah?
Nazirul. Yeah.
I've been to campus like 3 times, I think. Yeah. Since the MCO.
Yeah, yesterday I went back to the campus for the first time.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, because of the refurbishment. And
right.
I just suddenly realized that I forgot to, I mean, I didn't lock one of the drawers. And my whole room was very moldy. Because,
yes.
you know,
Really?
it's been kept shut, and also the plants all died, and you know.
I think, Esther, I think it's because of the plants. My room isn't moldy at all.
Your room? Where's
it's
your
all
room?
right.
With sunlight, right? You have some
that's
sunlight, right? Yeah, mine is kind of enclosed. But it's true, the plants is one of the reasons as well. Yeah.
Right.
So yesterday I was like,
on the aircons, I think. The aircons are on every day, I think. Yeah. So
is
it
it?
kind of helps with the ventilation a little bit.
Yeah,
all
I
the
don't
times
know.
I've been there.
So now I need to follow up with the, you know, to clean up a bit more.
Yeah.
Does the lecturer also have like roster like the students do? Or is it you guys can come anytime?
Oh, we have to
apply,
yeah.
We can't just simply go back. We have to apply with valid reasons. I think I've run out of valid reasons and now I've been using excuse. Nazirul, you know, I was saying, I have to use the software to run my regressions. I have huge data files, so I've been using this.
What about Adrian and Davy? Have you been back to the campus?
I'm back home, so I'm not even in Malaysia.
Okay. How about Adrian?
You are in your second semester only, right, Adrian?
Yeah.
So have you been to the campus since?
I've been there probably just once or twice, just to get some books from my seniors and stuff. But that's just it, basically. Yeah, it's not really. Yeah.
But from next week onwards, you all can go back like 3 times a week, right?
3 times
Monday,
a week,
Wednesday,
I don't understand
Friday.
the roster.
Wow.
I feel like that's a lot of students.
And I'll be on duty on Wednesday. Esther, do you volunteer yourself?
I have yet to.
You know, they told
people. Your first time?
They told us to volunteer at the main entrance. Where I'm not sure what will my duty be, you know, to take temperature or to record. So I can put my new experience in my CV. Probably.
Yeah. You must tell me. I'm a bit, apprehensive with this task. It seems like a massive task here.
I know. I kind of look forward to that.
Although we are so used to all these, right? Going in and out.
Yeah.
But still, to imagine myself actually standing there.
Yeah, standing there, checking. Yeah. But I volunteered the morning slot. If not, it's going to be so hot at the entrance.
Yeah, that's true.
Like 7:30 to 11:30.
I remember when we had to like pick up our passport because they told me that my passport was ready after the MCO was started. So for social distancing reason, they only let like one or like a few people in the school at once. But we had to line up outside. I'm like, there's so much space. Like it was 11 o'clock in like during the day. So it was so hot. Everyone was like heating up. And I'm like, you have so much shade inside. Can we like wait inside? Like we'll still social distance, but can we do it inside where there's like a lot of space instead of having us wait outside in the like street basically, and like because it's like no point giving us like only 2 people at a time if we're all just standing up close together outside anyway, because it's like hot, right? But yeah, I was so annoyed because I had to wait there for like an hour.
Oh dear. Davey, some of the rules, right? Because they were decided by the top management people, and people at the ground, they just followed the procedures. So, and they thought, they just have to follow. I also encountered something that's so unreasonable. The first time when I went back, the mail room, it was open like for only a couple of hours, I think, a couple of hours in the morning and a couple of hours in the afternoon. So I waited. Right. And then, I had a parcel that arrived, and then this guy said the SOP says I can only collect it 2 days later. So it's only one day. Only one day had passed. So I said, then in that case, I will have to go back to the campus again. That is worse, right?
Yeah.
Moreover, it has already been sanitized, that puzzle. Yeah. So, but you see, I can understand where he's coming from because he's afraid of violating the rule, you know, the SOP. So, well, luckily I know the OHSE director or manager. So I just called the top people up there and they just gave him a call and told him, okay, you can release the puzzle, you know? Yeah, so it is I don't know. Sometimes it's difficult for them to, I can understand, you know, he was very apologetic, this guy at the mailroom. Yeah. But those people who make the decision, I'm sure they made it for a reason, but sometimes, right, you cannot foresee, you know,
also,
practically what will happen. So they should really allow flexibility. Honestly, if
or,
I were
like
that, Davy,
the
I
water.
would make that inside.
No, because like you can see like just like the shade and like you know, it was like so much colder there, and like none of us thought to bring water. And you think, because we're like, we're gonna go to uni, there's gonna be water in uni. But like,
Oh wow.
Okay.
Adrian, you want to start?
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I guess we'll just start now. So okay. So hi everyone. My name is Adrian.
Hello.
I'm Debbie.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi. And we're from Musa SOB. So considering everything has been online now, we from Musa SOB are here to bring you a podcast series filled with educational and fun-filled episodes throughout this entire semester. So in each episode, we'll be discussing several topics to help you for your future job searches or even personal growth in preparation for the working world. So we also have some chill or casual topics just to even things out and create a less stressful vibe.
So in today's podcast, we'll be striking up a chat with our beloved lecturers just to see how they're doing amidst the pandemic before we introduce some other educational topics in the later weeks.
So before we get started, let's introduce our guest speakers for the day. We have Dr. Esther, Dr. Grace, and Mr. Nazirul. So starting with Dr. Esther, would you care to briefly introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Esther. I think many of you may have known me in the School of Business. I teach the MGW 1010, Introduction to Management, the core unit for our Bachelor of Business and Commerce. Well, I think this year is going to be, it's already my 9th year with the university. I did my PhD with Monash, Malaysia, in the area of services management. So, yep, would love to chit chat with you throughout this broadcast.
Dr. Grace, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Grace, and like Esther, I taught the first year unit ECW 1101. So it was the largest cohort last semester, and 400 over students. So this semester I'm teaching a third year unit, so it's much lighter for me, 60 over students. I've been with Monash for 12 years. 12 years. Oh wow.
A dozen years.
My kids practically kind of grew up on campus. They started coming on campus when they were very little, and now my son is your age, the student's age, 18.
Wow, really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's in foundation now.
Around.
Yeah, he's in. Yeah. You remember seeing him? Yeah, that little boy. Yes. 18, going to the university next year, now in foundation, and my daughter's 16. So yeah, I don't know. I seem to understand the students, this generation better, probably because of my dealing with my kids. Yeah, so sometimes, you know, like when I need a lot of patience, okay, I'll think about my son. Yeah. No, when I need a lot of patience with the students, okay, I'll think about my son. Yeah, okay, they are like that. Yes, you know. So I hope to be sharing insights. I don't know, you know, I would like also to hear, do we get to hear from students or yeah, the two students here, Adrian and Devi as well.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, Nazirul.
Yes, I am Nazirul, and I teach ETW2410, Introductory Chrometrics. And Dr. Esther was my lecturer for MGW1010. Yeah, that was in 2012, I think.
Oh my goodness. I remember you were in my tutorial.
Yeah.
Just like Adrian, you know. That's why I know them better. Yeah.
So obviously I'm the most junior here.
And he's now our colleague and a father.
It's amazing, right? Wow. I've been a lecturer since 2016, and I'm doing my part-time PhD as well. But I've been in Monash since 2011. I was an undergrad 2011, and then 2013 I was an honor student, and then 2014 I started teaching sessional tutorials and all that, and RE as well, research assistants. And yeah, so basically I've gone through all the Monash life cycle, you know. So
wow.
Yeah. And it's been great. So yeah, thank you for the invitation for joining this, and it's an honor to be with Dr. Esther and Dr. Grace here as well.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Having this weekend kind of, lift the veil, so to speak, between students and lecturers. Like, we are people too, So
definitely.
Yes.
To know each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so how's everyone today? I hope everyone is doing fine at home. I'm personally still struggling a little bit with online learning, but I wonder, how about lecturers? As lecturers, do you all find it exciting to see your students again, even if it's online?
For me, I'll start first. Well, it's our second semester, and I'm indeed very excited to meet our new students this semester. And it's kind of different because now that we are in RMCO, I think the whole atmosphere is not as tense as when we first started in the first semester in March. The students seem very they seem quite comfortable. Largely, they are quite ready, and everything is set up. Their cameras, and I felt that this semester started pretty well for this semester. For me personally, well, we get to go around a bit more. So I do go to Sunway Pyramid. I think so far once. When I was in the normal semester, I find it a bit, how to say, sometimes when I go to Sunway Pyramid, I'll be quite conscious because like Grace, I teach the large unit. So probably like 500 people would know me, when I'm walking around in the mall. And I might not be in my best, appearance. So, but this time now, when I go back, I kind of like, okay, I don't have that consciousness anymore somehow. But yeah, I think I'm getting quite used to working from home and teaching online, perhaps. But I do, I do miss that face-to-face contact as well. Yeah. Maybe Grace, you want to add on?
Yeah, certainly. It started a lot smoother, and for me, this semester has been a big relief for me because Esther, we both taught the first year, first semester students, and I practically spent a couple hours replying to emails, answering questions every day.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Same here.
Yeah, because the students were new, and suddenly everything was online, and there were many international students who were stuck here as well. So for me, I also have many honors and PhD students. Like the access to software, and the kind of also one of the PhD students has to kind of change his direction as well, because initially we planned to do field work. Now we just did a natural experiment using secondary data. So I think looking after many things, not just not just their academics, you know, their mental health as well. Yeah, because I heard from the student who stayed in SMR that, you know, some of the housemates were really undergoing a lot of stress and mental health problems. Yeah, so it was pretty, I would say it was pretty stressful for me as well. At home with 2 kids, they had online lessons, so we kind of had to fight for the internet sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. So this
feel
semester really has been such a breeze. We could go out, and my class size is so much smaller, 60 plus students, and they're third year students, very much independent. And yeah, I was like, has the semester started? No one emailed me. No questions from students.
I envy you, Grace. I envy you.
Oh, you still get a lot of questions first year, right? Yeah, my third year students were. Oh wow.
It's very different. So, yeah, when I taught third year, it's completely very, very different. Yeah, it's more content heavy, you know, in terms of the preparation. But when it comes to first year, yeah, there are a lot of new things that they need to know.
Yeah,
a lot of administrative and our policies. Yeah. So
yeah, even like, you know, changing the time zone in the Moodle.
Yes.
Yeah, little things like that. How to submit assignment. So little things like that. But of course, you know, like I don't blame the first year students at all. They're new, and now everything is online, and
they can't meet each other to
I
help
struggle
out.
with Moodle sometimes.
Than the others.
Yes, we struggle with Moodle a lot to start with.
Oh, you know, I texted Esther so much because in management, Moodle's assignment submission had been a norm, right?
Yeah,
but for econs, right, I did not have assignment. In the past, it was just tube tests.
Yes.
So I was always asking Esther, what should I do? She would do screenshot and share like sentences and
through WhatsApp.
So
I think sometimes it's difficult, because the Moodle from your side is different from the Moodle from our side. So you wouldn't necessarily see, like when we submit, right? Like I remember one time with Dr. Jason, he did only one file submission. And then turns out we need to submit the cover sheet. And a lot of people struggle because you need, like, they couldn't combine it, or there was like time constraint.
Okay.
So he's like, oh, I didn't realize this was like a problem, you know? So so then
I seriously, I didn't know how it's like, you know, on the student screen either. But
exactly.
So you know, now we are definitely a lot more prepared. But now we are looking into new skills. There's so many other functions that we are not aware of, and for further improvement. Nazirul,
Akram does really good quizzes.
Nazirul, can I have a request? Because your baby is 5 months old, that means during MCO, you know, like you can't control when the baby wakes up and all that, right? Like with the baby crying in the background and all that, how do you handle?
Oh, right. We've been quite lucky because in the house we have one small room which is like a home office. You know, basically we have set up because, you know, Lina was doing PhD as well. And I was doing PhD, so we all have our own stations with the, you know, the big table and all that, office table. So we've always had that. So that's okay. So that hasn't really been a problem.
And Lina takes care of him most of the time.
Oh yeah, she takes care of him basically all the time. Fully breastfeeding. Yeah, 100%. So so it's been quite easy in that sense. We've been quite lucky, I guess. Despite not having help, but everything else has been quite easy. I'm home, so can help her and all that. And the house is okay, and our area is okay. So in that sense, it's okay.
Not proud of you, Nazirul.
And especially listening to how you all handle with your kids. And, you know, fighting for internet and stuff like that. I've heard people not having enough laptops, you know, like.
It was a very, just like what Grace said, it was a mess, you know. We suddenly had to turn around the house because I stay in a very small condo here in Sentul. And then suddenly I have to make use of this bedroom and wipe the wall behind me and put some plants and, you know, make sure that it's something that it's presentable enough at the back there. And the Wi-Fi was very weak, and I lived on the mobile data most of the time.
Wow.
And I get locked out from Zoom quite a bit during the tutorial, even with no. So every single tutorial, I will be quite like, you know, until to a point where I just psycho myself, okay, uncertainties is the norm. So I really had to tell myself, so I don't feel so frustrated when a class didn't work out as what I wanted it to be, because every class I always want the best, you know, for my students. But when these technical issues happen, there was one time that I was really, really upset. So upset because it's not under my control. But come to a state where, you know, I begin to learn to accept uncertainties as part of my everyday life and also my job scope. And I'm really thankful for the students because they were very understanding as well. And just as we also would take into account technical issues that they encounter as part of a lot of our considerations. So I think, yeah, both sides, we learn to accept these challenges. And embrace it Yeah.
I had 2 laptops break down. So my laptop died. And then I have one laptop from Monash also died. So I had to bring it in and they fix everything. So, but it's still quite slow.
You know, Edward Baumhoff, the professor in my department.
Yeah, I'm taking
and he bought 2 new laptops during one was before the lockdown, the day before MCO. He went to KLCC and bought one. I remember we were holding like the Zoom training session. So he did not have a laptop at home, just desktop. So he bought that laptop. He went to KLCC first, bought the laptop, came to the campus. During the RMCO, he bought another one.
Wow.
Yeah. No, he was saying.
Why does he need so many, by the way?
Yeah. Isn't a desktop better?
No. Because he said because of his online teaching. Yeah, I'm betraying him. Because of his online teaching, he had to kind of kick the wife out of the study room. So he said to make himself look very busy, to convince the wife that he looked very busy. So he bought another laptop. So the wife was very impressed that he's working.
Oh, wow. My God.
I still remember my smartphone crashed the day before MCO. And I rushed to Mid Valley to buy one because remember that weekend before MCO, we had so many WhatsApps from the office, from our department, from our own individual colleague groups. And it overwhelmed my smartphone that I had to change a new one.
Oh, wow.
Just one day before, the MCO. So good thing I managed to get that, because after that, basically we're so busy with the WhatsApp and a lot of communication and supporting one another through this channel. And I remember over the weekend, because my my tutors are not very familiar with Zoom. We have never really used Zoom. So it was just the day before I think that Monday or Tuesday and Wednesday was the MCO. So I was so worried for my tutors. And I was really planning to kind of like break the rule to go to her house and teach her to run the Zoom, because our tutorial starts in week 2 right away. But thankfully I didn't have to do that. And then over the weekend, I decided to train her son, who is a university student in MMU, because she's really weak.
That's smart.
Technologically. Even Excel, she couldn't really do very well. So that particular weekend, I really taught the son, because I know that I can't survive with 400 over students, and she's taking a massive number of tutorials. She's very good tutor, very good for many years. It's just that the technological aspect, she's quite weak and she's not used to it. She's very good in delivery. So this technical challenge is a big thing. So I taught the son. I said, you are in my team now.
That's pretty smart.
Clever,
My parents'
Esther.
version,
Very clever. Yeah.
That I can relate to that. My parents' version of learning like something new in technology is having me do it.
Yeah. It will really
like I have you now. I don't have to learn anything anymore. You do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the son can help to check on her Zoom settings, the Zoom schedule.
Yeah. My brother still helps me with recordings and stuff. He knows it more than I do. Like he's younger than me. He's 16 or 17.
Yes.
In high school,
so good, right? Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the video as well from the Major Year Up. Have you guys seen it? I sent it to Nazirul, but we made a video introducing the Major Year Up.
Yes.
And my brother is the one who edited it. So he's at the end of the video. Yeah.
The rap school, right?
But speaking of like WhatsApp, do you guys have as many WhatsApp groups as we do? Because I like right now, everyone gets each other. Every tutorial, I feel like I have a WhatsApp group. and there's a one for like the whole lecture, and then there's like smaller one people ask.
Wow. Yeah.
I guess.
Yes, for us as well, I believe. We have one like first year with Grace and Mei Yi. And then we have our own department group, you know. We have another one, Gorgeous Ladies group.
Yeah, we call Monash Gorgeous Ladies. That's when I found out for my class. Oh, they were saying that they changed.
Find a way to join that group.
Someone said, oh, lipstick is a must. And I was like, oh, what have I been doing? You know, house clothes, no makeup, no lipstick. I just recorded my lecture after walking out of the kitchen. So after hearing from the ladies, because this is not just one, we've got like a gorgeous lady group, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so peer pressure is there as well.
I think I was the one who said that because it's become my, I don't know, since the first day of MCO, I have always been, you know, doing what I used to do, going to office. I will make sure that I'm dressed up in office attire, blah, blah. So every day, without without fail.
Really, she's our role model. But other ladies, right, they didn't do the whole set. May said lipstick is a must. And Audrey will certainly change her blouse, maybe not the bottom part also.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, Nazirul, you have no idea what the ladies said in our group.
I'm scared now.
What about like following up on something Dr. Grace said? What about how has your like the research project changed during the pandemic? Do you find yourself continuing what you guys did before? Or do you had to change something like massive, like your PhD student?
Yeah. So some of the things we had to change, but some of the things we could not change, so we just had to wait. For instance, initially, we actually planned an international conference in December, collaborating with the World Bank and Monash Australia. So that has to be postponed as well. But in fact, for me, I don't know, this MCO kind of, or an RMCO, I became a lot more productive. Or, you know, my previous results, right, actually started showing this during this time. Like I got an A-star publication out.
Wow,
yeah, accepted. But of course, that was a work that I started. That was a work that I started in 2016. So yeah, and during this period, we also got MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, signed with in an Indonesian university.
Oh, nice.
ITS. Yeah, and it's done digitally. In fact, we plan to have it signed by flying over our collaborators. You know, I planned the ceremony, so that had to change. So everything was done digitally, and it has already been signed. And we are planning another MOU with the biggest microfinance firm in the country. So yeah, so that draft is already out, and in fact, we are now helping the B40 women on how to market their products, because they are the one, you know, who are very badly affected by this. They cannot, you know, now we have to help them to sell things online. How do we do that and all that? So yeah, so in fact, for me, there's a lot more new opportunities. So we kind of changed the direction. In the past, right, the microfinance firm actually wanted us to help them to probably recruit more women borrowers. Now it's to help them sustain their business, you know, to help them survive. So we kind of changed the direction, but yet still, you know, we're still ongoing. And in fact, during this RMCO, I recruited two PhD students. Both Indonesians. Nice. Very good. Wow. I'm very impressed. Yeah, very impressed.
Are they like back home or are they in Malaysia?
One of them is back home, and he's the head of a department with the university that we signed the MOU with. Yeah, so he's back home, but because his research is in Indonesia and we are already planning to start the groundwork, we've gotten the ethics approved, and in Indonesia, they could actually do some interviews.
Yeah, so we're not locked down here. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, yeah, we need to change, but then things are still ongoing. There are things that I had to wait, of course. Yeah, and I was told by my colleague that because we subscribe to Grammarly, right? Manesh subscribed to Grammarly, and they have data on like how often we use Grammarly, and they found out that among the staff and the PhD students, now we actually write even more during the weekend compared to before the MCO.
Right. I didn't know they have that data.
Right. Weekend is just like another day, right? I don't know whether you noticed that.
Yes. Especially during the MCO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, for me, it's been a blessing in disguise in a way, because I'm supposed to be collecting survey, that's one, and I'm doing mixed methods, so I do interviews as well. So yeah, so I can't go out and interview, but I'm doing interviews through Zoom, which really cuts down on commute time and things like that. And they're actually more willing to do it because it's so easy for them. I've interviewed people while they're in their car, just park somewhere and just do. I interview the entrepreneurs, and they're quite busy. And this lockdown has been like a natural experiment for my study. I'm looking at startups and how they basically succeed. But having the lockdown has really given some kind of a real shock in the environment, and so I can really see in real time how they react to it. And I've actually seen a lot of startups doing better now. I have a friend who I met him just before the MCO, like a day before. We met at the UTC actually, because we're both registering our sons to get their IC. So yeah, the same hospital. So UTC is just in front of the hospital. So we all met. Yeah, so at the same time, and he had some kind of restaurant reservation company. So, and restaurants all closed down, right? So he was really worried, and a new first child just born. And I interviewed him around like 2 months after that, and his business pivoted to a delivery service, like a high-end delivery service where there's no like you can order things like from TGI Fridays, and there's no limit on the radius of delivery. You just pay by kilometers, and it's very popular with the higher income group. And he said his growth is like 500% a month from that. So from zero delivery riders to 100 riders in that like 2.5 months. So yeah, so he's one of the examples, but I've had a few examples where they're actually doing better, surprisingly. They had to pivot their business.
I didn't know you get your IC.
Well. So, sorry?
That early. I didn't know you get your IC that early.
Yeah, we have a My Card, but this is a My Kid, they call it.
My Kid?
Yeah, for under 18, yeah.
I didn't get my, like in Indonesia, you only get it 17. Before that, you just use your parents or like.
Just birth certificate, right?
Yeah, just birth certificate.
No, they started this 16 years ago. My daughter's, when my daughter was born, it was the first time they started this. So my son was born 2 years earlier, and he did not have an My Kid.
Kid.
Oh, they only did it for the kid born that year, not
no. From that year onwards, they started this policy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's like 16 years ago.
It's not that
I love
useful.
how you
though, because
remember
I
from
wanted
like
to
your
open the
kids.
bank account. They still ask for the birth certificate for him. I was like, oh, okay. So it's still not. They still want the birth certificate. Yeah. So the card is not that useful. But yeah. So
Partly to
and
open a bank account.
yeah, just to open a bank account. I mean, people are giving him money for Duit Raya and all that. Ang pao.
All right.
I had to keep it quiet.
Yeah,
Before I
it's quite
accidentally
important to have
use it.
that card, I realized, because my daughter was born in Singapore and she has 2 birth certs. And when we came back, I think on her 12th, just before her 12th birthday, then we realized that we must, when she was about 10 or 9, then we were trying to process something for her to apply for some education kind of savings and all that. And they need this my kid thingy. So we had to purposely go and apply for her. Yeah. So the birth cert doesn't really count. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. So it's good to start with
My
all
experience is
the necessary.
Yeah, definitely start opening all the education fund, like you said, SSPN and all that. But
yeah, with the kids.
yeah.
Nazirul, I must say that you're very lucky. One of my tutors, Adrian, I'm not sure if you know her, Dr. Kong, that's one of the tutors in my micro. She has a baby at home as well. And before the MCO, she gave me her consultation hours. And after that, she decided to change because, she has to, she has to make sure that, during that time, the husband can take a break working from home to look after the baby.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of coordination with the spouse as well at home.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so Lina is not working, so
yeah, that will be easier. So for her, she also had to change some tutorial hours, because I think the first week she stayed with the baby crying in the background and she just couldn't handle. Yeah, so after that, we changed the tutorial hours to fit, to suit her husband and the baby's time. So she chose the time where the baby would usually take a nap. And also the husband is available to look after the baby. Yeah, so I would say that, all of us face different sets of challenges.
Yeah.
For me, my kids are older and it's definitely a lot easier. I really cannot imagine if my kids were younger and a lot more difficult.
My tutor has a 2-year-old child and she keeps switching off the Wi-Fi whenever he has a class.
She's so smart. How does she know how to do that?
I was like, well. So so that's why we learn to accept the imperfections and all this. And
I think that the toughest challenge for me was psychological, because it's just just the 3 of us at home and our cat. We don't see anyone. I mean, we have families in the same area, like my auntie and my cousins, all that, but we can't see each other. So it's quite stressful,
Can you not see each other?
Yeah. No, we can now, but in the first few months.
Oh, before.
It's just us, you see. I just go out for groceries and no restaurants, nothing. So we don't really see anyone. And my parents, Lina's parents are, missing the baby. They met the baby when he was born. So the first 2-3 weeks, right? He was born on the 28th of February. So 18th of March was the MCO, right? So that few weeks, so they came. But after that, when my mom first, they allowed interstate travel. So she came from JB and held the baby. She cried because, it's such a long time. I haven't met the baby. Yeah, I think that's the toughest part. I was, thinking of, I want to go to campus and see people, see my office. How is it? Is it full of mold now? Things like that. And then it rained. I'm like, oh my God, the office gonna flood, because it has flooded before.
Yeah, it has flooded.
All my books are gone. So those kind of things, you can't do anything. Yes.
When was this? I didn't know that.
In our office, our area.
It's like that.
Yeah.
The one near SMR, right? And there's that new
6B
because
building.
we have the Sky Bridge, right? So the Sky Bridge, the drainage not very good. So the whole meeting room 3, my office, Elsa's office, Minsu's office, all flooded.
I remember going back to SMR with
so nowadays, since then, whenever it's raining, the cleaners will stand by with a broom and the thing to push the water. So yeah, they had
It
to
actually looked
modify
like
the
a
drainage and everything.
waterfall. Yeah, all the way like to the first floor.
The stairs became a waterfall. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember going back to SMR and I'm like, this is
Really?
we're at the first floor. Like, where is the water coming from? Like,
Wow.
it was insane.
Yeah. So yeah, those kind of things really takes a toll. But other than that, is quite okay. But yeah, that's in retrospect now is we're okay because it's starting meeting. I'm in JB now. First time I come back to JB to see my parents.
Nice.
My parents' house.
You are in
First time.
JB?
Yeah, I'm in JB. This is my parents' house. Yeah, first time. And we also went back to Penang to Lena's house, like a few weeks ago. Stayed there a week. So she stayed there for
You're
a week.
like at the edge of the other side of the country.
Oh yeah, that's
like one
true.
at the really tip.
Yeah.
We'll fly. During Raya, we will fly up and down. Yeah, we can't drive. During Raya, driving is insane. Yeah. So
How is the engagement this semester? Is it better than last sem? From the
I think
students?
so. I think it's better.
Engagement
I think
wise.
people are more comfortable socializing virtually, I guess.
Yeah, they seem
Yeah,
to be quite
true.
pro in the online space now, somehow.
Mhm.
The new students, from what I
Yeah.
see. And they have very nice place set up. Very nice. Everything seems to be like their room. I can see walls.
Like how you do. Yeah.
And I realized also one or two students, they mentioned that they have challenges staying with their parents after, staying separately.
Living alone,
And now
yeah.
they have to go back to stay together with their parents. So it presents some extra challenges. So I realized that these students tend to go to the cafe for their tutorials during
Right.
that time with the mask.
Oh.
Yeah, so
You mean this semester, Esther?
yeah, this semester.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, they can do that now.
So, yeah, because they can go out
Right,
and
right.
have their tutorials anywhere really. Some while driving.
Oh yeah, I see that a lot too. People driving, like, oh, okay.
So
really
it's quite different from MCO.
Yeah.
Very different. Actually, I
Last
begin.
time, just yesterday, we were having tutorial and Sumaya texted me. He's like, do you see that guy? He's just doing laundry. He's like folding his shirt. Like while
Wow.
we were discussing things.
Wow. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
still attending his classes, so good for him.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Yeah. I cannot get a room in my house where I will not get interrupted. Like we have like 4 bedrooms for like, because I have 2 siblings and then my parents. And then like no matter where I go, even if I go outside, like someone will pass by or interrupt in the background or you'll hear something. Like it's
Yeah, we saw 2
all
people
my
pass by
teachers, I
just
feel
now.
like, have met my brother.
Yeah.
So everyone.
I think we get to
Are
know
you
one
back in
another
Indonesia
better.
now?
I'm in Bali, yeah.
Are you back
Oh.
in Indonesia now?
Yeah, I'm with my
Okay.
parents. I'm in Bali. Yeah.
She's in
Very
Bali.
nice.
She's in Bali.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we've been starting to we've been going to the beach a lot. So like for the past 2 weeks. So we're trying to make it like a thing. Like every Sunday we're gonna go to the beach.
Nice.
But yeah, it's really nice. In Bali you get a lot of beaches, so it's pretty like it's pretty big. And so like even if there's quite like a few people, it's like you're not really close to anyone anyway. And it's the beach, so it's like open air.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's really nice. But we meet my cousins. I'm a lot closer to my cousins now because like we can't see our friends because like we want to keep it like isolated, like who we meet. So I basically just meet my family, but I have a Chinese family, so it's big.
Right.
So there's choices.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
My dad has 7 siblings. My mom too, but she's in Java. So yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, it's nice. I like being home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about
Very good.
uninterrupted environment, recently my son sat for an online TOEFL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's applying for university now, right? Online TOEFL. The requirement is very strict because it's invigilated. So he
Right.
got himself a new speaker. They wanted a speaker. The camera, they want him to scan even under the table to make sure there's no one in the room. So he, of course, made the announcement from 11:30 p.m. until 2:30. Yeah, so that's the time. So he told us not to enter his study room because we might enter. So as soon as anyone is seen, you know, in your room, you are immediately disqualified from the test.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So so he made the announcement, okay, 11:30, no one, and he told us to turn off our internet, all of us, because they have the speaking, listening session as well.
Yeah.
Where there will be interviewer, and so he needed the maximum internet speed. Yeah, so that night I got to rest earlier. I don't know, without the internet, somehow my life seemed very empty. I didn't know what to do.
True, yeah.
Can you imagine if we had this like 10 years ago? Like,
Yeah.
Netflix.
I was just listening to the interview with by The Economist, and he was just mentioning right on that point, because like imagine 5 years back, not even 10 years, without Zoom, without, you know, all that we are having right now with online purchasing, you know, apps and all that.
4G.
I wonder how would life be this year.
Yeah. We'll start farming probably. Just to, pass the time. I heard people started gardening. I started gardening.
No, that's true. Yes, that's true. A lot of people started gardening.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's start farming. Yeah.
My dad gets into the weirdest hobbies. Now he's really into like coffee making, but he doesn't drink coffee because his stomach can't handle it. So every day he's like, "You want coffee?" So, but he actually bought beans. Like, he bought beans, like the one, because in Bali he's like, oh, he researched like which one is the one that we export or whatever. And then so he went like 2 hours away to buy it from the farmer, because he's like, wow. And then he's like that every day. He's asking my siblings, and I'm like, do you want coffee? Do you want coffee?
You're so lucky.
I want coffee.
Oh, you know, one of the skills that my husband learned during the MCO was making coffee. He did not know because I only drink black coffee. So I have got so not because the espresso machine is more difficult to operate. So I usually make a pot of drip coffee. So that's easy, you know, like a pot.
Yep.
Yeah, so I grind my own beans because I bought the beans from my friend. She hand roasted the coffee bean. Yeah, I'm pretty particular about my coffee. So sometimes, you know, like in the morning, always busy and all that. So he's freer at home. And one day he decided to do his wife a favor, you know, to make me coffee because I had no time to make coffee that day. You know, in the drip coffee machine, right? You put the coffee powder and the water in separate compartment, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, if you're Nazirul. So anyway,
Grace is giving us a tutorial now.
He's never operated that machine before. So I already told him, okay, you grind a bit. Even grinding the coffee bean, he did not know how to operate. So I taught him. Then I just told him, so my instruction was not clear enough. So I just told him, okay, because I've already told him you put the beans here, the coffee powder here. I don't know, automatically, I just assumed that he will put the water in the next compartment, but he just poured the water on top of the coffee powder.
Yeah, so, sounds like something I would do too.
Yeah. You sounded like that just now.
It makes sense to me. Coffee is there, the water goes there. Because
of
drip
course,
coffee,
he only made
right?
once. He only made the mistake once, and now, you know, sometimes when I wake up, there will be coffee ready. Very nice. Yeah, first time in my life.
Yeah. Speaking of beans, though, my dad bought the unroasted beans. So like he will roast it himself, and I won't know till after I drink it. He won't tell me until after, and then he'll tell me like, oh yeah, like I'm like, it's a bit bitter. He's like, oh yeah, I did it a little bit too long. Or like he's experimenting with the roast.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he's doing this. He does from beginning to like end. And in Bali, like our land, like we have the land next to us is a bit empty. Like there's no building there. And he's close with the people who like manages the land. Like they plant banana trees right now, like all the banana leaves. And so he bought like some seeds or something. He's like, oh, what are you using that for? He's like, I'm gonna plant it. I'm like, where? The garden's full. And he's like, oh, next door. I'm like, did you ask permission? And he's like, I'm sure he'll let it. Like, if he'll let it, I'll just like take it away. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it's really, I don't know. He keeps himself busy.
Good. My
Very
husband
good.
actually picked up playing the keyboard, playing
Nice.
chords.
Wow.
So my husband
Oh,
during the
nice.
MCO, so he gave himself a challenge. He has no background in piano, and so we have a digital keyboard, and so I do teach him, but he learns most of the time through the app, the Simply
Oh, right,
Piano
yeah.
app with
There's
very
an app
good,
for everything now.
very good, yeah, very good system,
Wow.
giving rewards and using the contemporary songs. And he practices like almost 3-4 hours every day. And by now he can actually play pretty good, you know, using the Codify to play along with the contemporary music. And for me, I actually, you know, joined my daughter. She's about 12 and she's into this Korean drama, Netflix. So I always seek consultation with Grace as well. What are the good movies, good dramas?
Oh,
It's okay
And
to not
I
be okay?
became quite immersed into it myself. I'm so shocked, you know, that I could even, because normally I don't spend time watching dramas and all that, you know, all these years. But MCO, because I need to join my daughter, because as she's growing up, I also need to catch up with what she likes. And so I began to pick it up, and to the point where I myself, you know, have developed my own interest and identity as well in this field. And so I love the soundtrack, and then I begin to, during when MCO was a bit you know, relaxed, I actually moved my old piano, like since 30 odd years ago. Yeah, I've been learning piano, but I've kind of lost touch. But I ship it to my house and play the Korean soundtrack.
Wow.
oh, that's nice. So you play the piano.
You
then?
really got
Yes,
into it.
yes,
Really?
yes.
Oh,
I even
you can
spent
do those like duets with your
1,500
husband.
to overhaul the piano, the
Whoa.
mechanism inside, because it's so old already,
So you have to fix it.
and we haven't been tuning it.
Is
So
it the big one, like the grand
the big
piano?
one, yeah. It's not the grand
Oh.
one. It's the old classical
Oh, okay, yeah.
The
wooden piano.
stand piano?
stand up piano. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, my husband also jammed together with his keyboard with some background string. So yeah, so we kind of like have a small band.
Wait, background string? So your children?
Yeah, he plays the
violin?
string, you know, with the keyboard, some sound effects.
I see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
interesting. Oh.
yeah, I wonder if this podcast we have like visual actually. Do
Yes,
we
I'm recording the
The visual.
visuals on my laptop.
you know
I'm
what?
using OBS on my
This
laptop.
semester,
Yeah,
my daughter
that's why there's two of
introduced
me.
me to a very nice song, and I fell in love with it. And I actually made a chief examiner update for my students this semester using that song. So
Nice.
I thought of sharing with you. I don't know whether it's about 3 minutes. Is it?
Yes,
okay?
please.
Yeah,
Go
sure,
ahead.
Okay, so this is from the soundtrack of.
Is this you playing?
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen now. Is it okay? I share my screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely.
All right. Okay. So let me just switch it on. Okay. So this is what happens to me. And I spent about 2 sleepless nights just to do this.
Wow.
Yep, that was it.
Great. Yeah, that was amazing.
Nice.
Miss Asiana was my teacher back when I did.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
She's
Helen
still
is
with
your
us.
tutor, Esther.
Yes, indeed.
Did
Yep.
you do all the arrangement? Because there was a lot of instruments, right? Oh, wow, that's
It was
amazing.
taken from YouTube, the instrumental version
Oh, and then you
of
did the
that
piano
song.
part.
No. It was taken from YouTube, the song, but I just
Oh, okay.
compiled the animations. I mean,
Okay.
the slides and information. Yeah. I wish I could play as well as that.
Sure. Yeah, the soundtrack is very nice. Which drama is it? I don't think I watched it.
How are you, Braid? How are you, Braid? It's about a chef, a pastry chef. He kind of, well, it's kind of like a destiny that he couldn't be with this girl when he was in France studying this pastry thingy. And so he makes the bread every day in limited edition with the thought of her. So, and it's called How Are You Bread. And people buy, when they buy, they eat, then their wish will come true.
Oh, wow. That's magic.
Yeah, eventually this girl, she lost her memory because he wanted to, he doesn't want her to get hurt. So he kind of like made an agreement with an angel that she will lose the memory of him. And then she happened to bump into his bakery and bought that and ate that bread. And then she somehow remembered him. Oh. So anyway, yeah, these are the
magical,
so non-academic of us,
we I used to, when I had more PhD and honors students, Edward and I, because we co-supervise Professor Edward Baumhoff, we co-supervise many research students, so we had lunch with them every Tuesday at the lounge, the level 2.
Right.
The staff lounge. So every Tuesday we would have lunch with them and we would speak about everything but economics. Then every time at the end of the lunch, Edward will say, okay, we had a very fruitful economics discussion where we talk about everything else but economics. So, we need a break sometimes, to...
You should do it now over Zoom.
What we are doing.
I did it a few times, actually, connecting all the research students, honors and PhD students at the beginning. So I set up a Zoom meeting room, and after that, I don't know, I felt that I should probably leave. When I was there, probably they would feel more tension. So I just left the room open. They could join anytime.
Right.
Yeah, because they were new students, I wanted to introduce them to the other research students because, I think the peer support is really important.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, I don't really go to consultation a lot or anything, but I do find a group of friends that I vibe with throughout the semester. And then usually if I have anything, I'll probably go to them first, discuss it among the people who take the same unit and stuff. So I feel like that's especially for 2 for 10. I felt like that's where I first really got to know them, was 2 for 10 because the assignment was so hard. Actually, we do have some questions from the student. You have to. It's you have to. And I'm the type of person who can't because when you go for a consultation, you have to wait for next week, the time that I need it. I need something now. I it's hard for me to wait for Tuesday this time next week. So I prefer just spending just deep dive on Google, or actually for econometrics I find YouTube a lot easier. But we have some questions from student that we want to ask.
Somebody wants to say hi.
Is it your baby?
Oh, hi! Wow! Look at the baby smiling.
He's so cute.
They really look like you, Nazirul.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, he's so adorable. Did you shave his head?
I did once, but he's hardly grown. Hi, boy. They're these friends.
What's his name? Hi.
Yeah, so this
Oh,
is
he's so
my
adorable.
teacher. Hey,
They
can I
go
say
so
hi?
fast. They're so big now.
Oh yeah, he's like almost 9 kg now.
Oh wow.
9?
How
Are
many
you
months is he?
sure?
5?
Yeah, almost a 1 kg a month. Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Oh, he's so cute. He's so calm.
Taking after you, I guess. He's catching up with you.
Why? Okay. Can I look at monitor too long? Okay. Okay, so your eyes. Okay, bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, he's so chubby.
Yeah.
Send my regards to Lina.
Yeah. Send my regards to.
Yeah. So I guess I picked up childcare. Yeah.
Yeah, what's the question, Devi?
All right, yeah.
Sorry,
So
sorry,
we've got
Devi.
a few questions from the students. I'll start with 2-4-10 since we were already on the subject. But someone asked, what is the best coding language apart from R and software to learn? Like coding language or software to learn?
That's for me, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
R and Python are definitely the two most popular now. But it depends on the kind of field you're going into. If you go into economics and mathematics, then R is very popular and it's expanding. If you're going into computer science, more technical stuff like that, then Python is more popular. So that's why we are teaching R in our department, because that's what's most useful in our field. Yeah, if you go to School of IT, they're using Python instead. But in terms
I
of
know some of my friends who took BA also took the Python elective on IT. So that is an option for anyone who wants to take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like this question though, but like, why is 2410 a level 2 unit so hard compared to a level 3 unit? And how hard is it to pass the unit?
Well,
I don't understand the what's it called, the rep that 2410 has with the students. Like, students are so scared to take the unit. Like, I know people who do economy and have to do it, and they wait till like the last sem or like the second to last sem. Like, they just postpone it.
Like Renee.
Yeah, like Renee.
I guess what people find difficult is the theoretical part, the math, the proving. Speaking of unbiasedness and stuff like that, it's conceptual, right? I think the modeling part is not too difficult, the hands-on practice, but because we get this unit from Australia, and the CE there, he said it himself that he's, I quoting him, he's unapologetic about putting all the math in there, which some of it is actually graduate level, meaning people learn that at master's level. But he's putting some of it in this unit because he feels it's important. The linear algebra, the matrix and stuff like that. Because of course, if you just want to be a practitioner, then in the industry, it's not so important to learn these things. But if you want to pursue further in econometrics, you want to learn econometrics high level, you start coming up with your new models and stuff like that. Even in economics, you want to prove theories, then you should know the language that they write these things in, which is linear algebra. So that's why we introduce it to students, so that to give them that kind of option, career path. And I've looked at the same course at other universities, even top universities in UK and US. Yeah, our course is a little bit harder in that sense.
I think that's one of the things as well. Like, the jump from 1000 to 2410 is bigger than 2410 to like the third year units, where like everything for econometrics, everything is like going back to 2410, but it's like less big. So it feels like harder to go to 2410.
Yeah, it's definitely a big jump. Like in year one, you just run regressions, right? But here you need to know why you're running regressions, what are the mechanics behind that. Like I always tell students, we're not teaching you just to drive the car, we're teaching you how to fix the car if the car breaks down. So you need to know the workings of the car, So
personally, coming from a freshie in 2410,
there you go.
I was personally, I'm intimidated by this last week's lecture where it was 4 hours long, and I was.
Is it OLS?
Yeah, it was. It was, and I was like, oh
Lecture
no.
3. Lecture 3.
Yeah. there were 2 parts and each part was almost 2 hours long, and I was like so scared. So yeah.
Lecture 4 is longer, I think.
Oh no.
Oh, wow.
I should tell you that now. But
You mean the CE is from Australia?
from Australia, yeah. We've had CEOs from Australia since 2016, I think. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly
Yeah,
why
in
they
fact,
I think
Adrian,
because of the exchange.
before, I can't remember, when I first joined, econometrics was not made compulsory for economic students. And I fought hard for it to be made compulsory for economic students. So we just had introduction to econometrics, and in fact, in most of the econs degree, you would have to do introduction to econometrics and advanced econometrics. That's what I did in my undergraduate.
And sometimes they ask you to do like a short project, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because if you were to pursue your master in economics, there will be advanced econometrics using, William Hongreen's textbook. If you have not done an intro to econometrics, there's no way you could catch up. So, in fact, let's say for World Bank, right, they want people who are familiar with Stata. We use, most of the researchers in my department, we use Stata eViews, but then Stata is a lot more popular because it's very flexible. So if you know the R or Python language, in fact, you can easily switch to any other programs and languages very easily. Yeah. True. So for us, right, in fact, let's say World Bank, they specifically ask for our graduates who are familiar with Stata. Now, of course, they're looking for a PhD graduate. Yeah. Oh, by the way, do you remember William?
Yes.
William So.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have this former student who did his first year here, and after that he transferred to Monash, Australia, Clayton, I think, and he did his honors there in Clayton, but he returned to Malaysia to do his PhD. So I co-supervised him with his honors supervisor in Clayton. Then after that, he started working with World Bank KL, and he has now been sent to Washington, DC, the HQ. Oh, wow. So he said it's like a dream come true to work for World Bank HQ. Yeah, he's been there for 2 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
So he recently wrote to me.
He's recently there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I told him to stay safe.
Yeah.
Exactly. Ferry there.
Yeah. 2 months. Yeah, it's been there for 2 months. Yeah, so he recently wrote to me. So we have. So he recently wrote to me telling me that they're looking for people and asked me to introduce. And they always do. They specifically mention about Stata. A software that we have. So if you've done the other languages, you can easily learn up in other software, because different organizations, they are they use different software. So so if you know the basic, and of course R and Python, and if you know, like what Nazirul said, how to fix a car, and seriously any car given to you, you would have no problem driving it. In fact, when you start working, you just need to drive it. Fixing it, I think there will be people, right? But if you know how to fix it, you can drive any car.
Right.
Yeah. So it's very, very essential. Very essential.
That's right. Our third year unit have been using Stata for panel data.
Yeah,
and for next year, 2-4-10, we are introducing a bit of Stata as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're transitioning to R and Stata. So we are phasing out eViews.
Oh, okay.
Because it's more flexible. eViews is not as flexible.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. Very window-based, and I now prefer Stata as well. Yeah.
Yeah. You can download packages.
I think Stata has more it's pretty intuitive too, because like R, you have to know like the codes, right? But for Stata, you can write the codes if you want, but if you don't know, then you can just click on like the options. And, like, so, like,
but it's a lot easier to write the code. I prefer writing the code.
Me too.
I don't know.
I just copy the code.
Like the window, there's just too many choices.
I say once you know it, it's easier to write the code. So when you're still like exploring, I think it's like when students, especially when they first start, if they're not used to like writing codes and stuff, I feel like it's easier for them to like find something. It's the same, I think, when you're just generally on Windows, for example. It's like it's the difference between people who click the start button with the mouse and people who click it with their like do everything on the keyboard. Because my brother does everything on the keyboard and like shortcuts and whatnot. Every time he sees me click something, he's like, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "You have the mouse for a reason, you know. It's okay. Like stop." But okay. Now this is a more general question. But did you all already plan to did you always plan to enter academic route, or like when you were at uni, like before that, or was it something that kind of like you stumbled upon eventually?
Good question.
Yeah, can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've always wanted to be a banker. I don't know, during my time, right? Being a banker sounded like such glamorous job to me. So I graduated in 1997. Asian financial crisis. Whenever I told this story to my students, and they, I know they're doing mental calculation how old she is if she graduated in 1997. Don't need to count, the numbers too huge. I'm 46 this year.
Young.
So first job, and when I came back, right, I just wrote to all the banks. I didn't wait for advertisement. I just wrote to all the banks, wrote to the HR, and I accepted the bank that gave me the highest pay, the highest offer. But then because of the Asian financial crisis, and after that it was difficult to get a job. So although I really hated my job. Did not like it at all, I thought I like it, but it wasn't what I'd expected. But I could not leave, so I was stuck there for 2 years. Then after that, everyone was talking about consulting firm. Esther was in a consulting firm, right? Like glamorous job, MNC. So I applied, and I got into one of the top consulting firms. When I was there, I really could not see myself in my boss position. Like when you are in a corporate, you would want to climb up the corporate ladder, right? So I was thinking my life will be even more miserable if I'm sitting in my boss position. And there was some research because I'm not an accountant. So with a consulting firm, I did business consulting. We did a lot of research as well. I did not like it. And teaching had always been my passion. Before I went back to do my master's degree, during the semester break, not during the break between degree and master's degree, I worked as a temporary teacher for 2 months. I taught mathematics. I've always liked teaching. So then I applied to a university. At that time, because it was just across the road, I work in Menara Millennium Damansara Heights, and Help University was just across the road. My husband at that time, no, that was my boyfriend. No, not even my boyfriend. He was going after me, and he did his MBA with Help University. So he always asked me to submit his assignment on, probably an excuse to see me. So he would come to my house to give me his assignment and told me to help him submit. So then when I submitted his assignment one day, because I'm very regular, I already knew the stuff there, and they told me that, they're looking for a lecturer in economics. So then I applied. Okay, that's when I started doing my PhD as well, but I did not do my PhD right after I started, because seriously, being away from academia for 3 years, I had to prepare. I spent a year preparing. I think, I worked even harder than when I was a student. Because, as a student, I don't know about you, that's me. I studied very strategically, if I knew this is important for exam, I would spend more time. What's not important, no, I wouldn't study too much. But as a lecturer, you need to know every single thing, right? So I really spent working even harder than when I was a student for 1 year. Then I was very sure that this is the career that I want, for the rest of my life, honestly. So I started my PhD because the PhD is needed for our career. So to me now, okay, when I used to work you know, like people say Monday blues and all that. Yes, it's so true. You know, before Monday, like Saturday, I would start thinking, okay, I only have another 1.5 day. So on Sunday, I already started feeling miserable. It's like another week. And now I look forward to new semesters, seeing new students, you know, embarking on new research. So, you know, whether you like your job or not, in fact, it is so important. So say with a bank, right? Whenever there are new products, new system, I saw some of my colleagues, you know, they were so enthusiastic to learn, and for me, I couldn't be bothered, you know. Yeah, although I could learn, but I just was not interested. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So people can tell you, oh, you know, banking or whatever can earn you a lot of money, but if you're not interested, honestly, you will not do well. You will not do well. Yeah, so your passion is certainly very important. I think students, you know, now you have the opportunity to do internship. I think you should certainly make full use of this opportunity. Now, internship, right, will tell you after you enter the company whether or not you like it. Even if you don't like it, right, it is a very important lesson learned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what it is like working in that kind of environment, and you get to learn it for free, and probably, you know, with even some money. I think most of them probably don't pay, but honestly, it is a very, very good learning experience. I remember I have a top student in a BCom accounting program. We used to have that program, BCom accounting, right? Bachelor of Commerce. He wanted to be a scientist. So after his A-level, he actually did an internship, and so he kind of experienced the life of a scientist. So he worked in a lab and he saw how the scientists work, and he decided to change his career path. So he knew that's not what he wanted, and then he changed to accounting. Yeah. So honestly, I did not know what I like until I experienced it. And you will know if you look forward to learn new stuff, if you look forward going to work. Yeah, that is a sign that you like your job.
That's nice.
True.
Well, for me, I've always liked to help my friends in their studies, even in the secondary school. And I still remember, you know, we only have that house phone, right? Landline. And almost every night I'll be standing there. My friends will call me with all the accounting, and I took commerce for my, Form 4 secondary school. And I will be teaching them over the phone. And then when I took the pre-U STPM, the government curriculum, because at that time in the 90s, you know, around Grace generation, it was very difficult to get into a private university unless you really have, a lot of funding, private funding through your parents or other means. So for me, I'm a very humble Ipoh girl. All my life, I've never traveled to anywhere else except Ipoh. So at that time, I was like, there is a quota system where, you know, for Chinese, you need to score like almost perfect, 4 A's,
Right.
4 A's, 1 B in order to get into a commerce degree in University of Malaya.
Yes, and Esther did.
Yeah,
wow.
So I at that time I was very pressured because my brother couldn't really make it for the public view, and that means he's only 1 year older than me. So that means all my parents' fundings have been invested on him to pursue a private degree. And then so I cycle myself again. So I looked at the point system, and I saw like, hey, being a teacher, a school teacher, you don't need that many A's. So you probably need 60 points as compared to 80 full points, full marks for entrance into an accounting or commerce degree. So so there I went, I did my best, I tried my best, and miraculously I got 4 A's and 1 B, which is, you know, that qualifies me into an accounting or a commerce or a business administration. So I've worked in my uncle's audit firm when I was waiting for the results. And I knew that I couldn't take an accounting type of work in an audit firm, because I just because of 10 cents, 20 cents, I just couldn't go home. I have to balance up the books.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but of course, there's so much more than that. But I knew that I can't really cope with the very technical, very detailed type of job scope. But I like business administration. It gives me a very broad skill base. And perhaps my dad, he was from a management background. In his 60s, he was in Nanyang University in Singapore.
Oh.
Bachelor of Business Administration as well. So I took up that path. So it's either accounting or business administration with that kind of result. So I took that, and since then, my dream job was always to be in the consulting field. And I was also at the same time, very inspired by my marketing lecturer at that time in services marketing. But I thought that in business administration, I should have some corporate experience if I want to be in the academic path, because it wouldn't make sense to just, teach from the books. I never believe in that, especially in this field. So I got into Accenture with the first class honors, and of course with a lot of co-curricular activities as well. That really is very important, because I still remember when I was in University of Malaya, I had to make a decision because I was very actively involved in the Christian fellowship, in the mission field, traveling and helping with the communities. And I really had to ask myself, so if I really want to be like some of my friends who really study like 24 hours, very, very, very hardworking. So I'm not that type as well. So, and I tend to catch up with my studies at night, very late at night. And I handle that with coffee, a lot of coffee. So most of the time I'll be like doing visitation and reaching out and helping others. And so I was willing to kind of sacrifice my first class honors, but I still did my best. But at the end of the day, I still got, very good result, thankfully. And that allowed me to join the consulting field. And at that time, I traveled a lot. I lived in Hong Kong, in Russia, in Miri. So I live on my baggage most of the time. And the best thing is like you are changing job while staying in the same company, because you're working with different teams. You're stationed in the client's place. Yeah. So to a point where I'm very close to my clients as compared to my Accenture colleagues, because we are all over the place. We are all over the world. But we have a very strong connection. A very strong culture of sharing of knowledge. And I think that is something that I really, really appreciate. And I also bring it to where I am today in Monash University. So whenever, just like Grace, she really loves to share knowledge and help others. So I think that has become part of me as well, from that culture. Because in academics, sometimes you can be so comfortable to stay in your own space. You just take care of your own unit. You just take care of your own self, without having that kind of interactions and helping others kind of spirit. Sometimes we are so tempted and to do that within that system in the higher education sector, which is something that I felt we shouldn't be, because we need to set an example in terms of collaboration, in terms of being selfless and going beyond, our own expertise. So, so that was me. And then come to a point where it's time to get married. Then I begin to reflect.
Get married.
And I've been on a 7-8 years of long distance relationship.
That's amazing.
The time where I spent a lot of time on the phone, and come to a time where my mom is saying, hey, you time for you to get married, okay? That was 29 when I was 29. And so I thought, okay, yeah, maybe I should. So I decided to to resign from Accenture. And I still remember, because I was doing my MBA at the same time. So after clubbing, after the late projects, we go out, you know, for some entertainment, and then I'll come back and do my assignment for my MBA, because I knew that somehow I need that for the academic profession later on. And then after I quit Accenture, then I joined the private college, and I was being sent to Nottingham Trent for 6 months, stationed there to teach together with a partner university. And that really opened up my eyes to the academic world. You know, the British way of thinking, very philosophical, very critical. And I just fell in love with that environment. And also to do a PhD, that was when I started to have that thought. And then when I came back, Monash University had full scholarship about 10 years, more than 10 years ago, about 15 years ago, when they first launched the School of Business PhD program. So I subscribed to it, and yeah, so that's how I'm here. Yeah. So
wow.
It's not a very linear
Esther,
approach.
Oh,
no, Esther, you have you've gotten it planned out. You know, like you knew you needed a master's degree. For me, I did my master very unplanned. I did my undergraduate, you know, when I finished, because in Canada it's a 4-year undergraduate degree.
Mm-hmm.
I completed in 2.5 years because I overloaded myself every semester. Instead of 4 units, I took 6.
Wow.
Another reason was that whether you take 4 or 6 units, right, the fees are the same.
Oh, really?
So all international students, if we could handle, we just take 6 units. And summer, I didn't come back in most of the summer. So even summer, I overloaded I took all the summer units.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I completed in 2.5 years. I don't know. At that time, right, I just wanted to start working as soon as possible. It's almost like, you know, I don't know, this unknown competition, who graduates first. Yeah, so I wanted to be first. So I returned, no intention to do my master's degree. At that time, I had a boyfriend. He was he's a Malaysian Chinese from Sabah. He did an engineering program. An engineering program is a co-op program, 6 years. So 2 years is actually work experience. I think starting from, I don't know, maybe the second year, one semester will be on campus, and another semester they will have to work.
Okay.
They will have to work in their field. So for him, it's 6 years. So when I graduated, he was still in the university. He had not graduated yet, and he applied for a scholarship on my behalf. So yeah, so he applied for the scholarship, and I got it. So he called me one day and he said, "Oh, okay, come back. There's a scholarship waiting for you, 100% fee waiver, and it's just 1 year." Even then, I hesitated. You know, like 1 year, I thought about the opportunity cost, the money that I could have earned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm so glad that I went back for that 1 year, because when I decided to pursue my academic path, right, I could start my PhD right away. So yeah, so sometimes students were undecided whether or not they want to do their honors degree or master's degree. I think, you know, if there is no hurry for you to start working to feed your family, yeah, why not? Because nowadays a PhD, you know, having a PhD is not overly qualified. We have many PhD graduates, you know, who work in the industry. You do not necessarily need to be an academician, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm so glad that I completed my master's degree back then, because when, you know, yeah, going back to complete my master was very easy because I just completed my undergraduate. The momentum was still there. So in fact, when I started my PhD, it's a lot more tougher for me. Yeah.
Adrian,
yeah. So it was unplanned, but you know, it turned out to be my destiny.
That's nice. Life you do like that. Adrian has a really good question. Go ahead, Adrian.
Okay, so how would you want your students to remember you and your class? at the end of every semester.
Okay, Nazirul, your turn.
Yeah.
At the end of every semester, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I always think about, I want them to learn how to think critically. That's one thing, because we always talk about, statistical evidence, data-driven evidence, which may not be intuitive or common sense for most people.
No, I think it's the question. Sorry, did I get it wrong? How do you want your student to remember you? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So I would feel like they want to remember me as someone who shows them things like that, and also think of me as someone who's well, approachable, and something they would maybe consider to be their mentor perhaps, and think about me not as like a lecturer who's a different level or anything, but like a friend. And because I feel like I'm teaching them, but they also teach me. Like, Devi, we've been working together. She's my past leader for quite a while now, and I've had like a few batches of past leaders, and she's teaching me how to use Discord and stuff like that, experiment on things. So I like at the end of the day that we become friends, really, like totally no barrier, because eventually, you might be working with me like how I'm working with Dr. Esther to Grace now, in a way, Yeah, so it's wonderful to not have any kind of barrier. Of course, we are respectful and all that, but it's the world is much, much better when we're all friends and can share knowledge and lives with each other. So that's how I feel at the end of the semester.
Yeah, that's nice. Dr.
How
Esther?
about that?
Yeah. For me, I think the video just now might have given some insights into a lot of my hope and what's important to me. I hope that at the end of the semester, the students will remember me as someone who goes beyond just teaching them a unit, but also to inspire them to be strong, to be resilient individuals, where we basically surpass ourselves instead of trying to compare ourselves with others. So we really look for personal growth than anything else. So I think that's what I hope to be remembered for every semester.
Yeah, I agree with Esther. Some of the things that you mentioned were what I'm hoping for to be remembered. I don't know. For me, I hope to cultivate the interest. Let's say after taking the unit, you start liking economics, and remember me as someone who's always optimistic. And I also hope to inspire the students. Unlike Nazirul, your age, you can be friends with the students. I'm okay if
me feeling young as well.
me as this Auntie Grace. Yeah, Auntie Grace, who has this motherly figure. If you have any problem, you can come to me, and perseverance is something that I really encourage everyone to have, and inspiration. I think, right? I mean, like I said, my kids are in your generation, and my son is a good example. I could tell him to do many things I used to. I remember the nightmares that I had when he was in the Chinese primary school. My Chinese isn't that great, but all his Chinese essay, I help. Honestly, I help. I hated this homework when I was a student myself, and I told him, I'm so old, I'm still writing your essay. Like I could push him, I had to push him, but now he is very independent, and he's very motivated. He did everything on his own. So, you know, I think students, if you have that kind of own self-motivation, right, and if you aspire to excel, and honestly, you know, we will just play a very small role to help you, to guide you, you know, onto your right path, and that's about it, a supporting role. And we want you to do better than us. I'm very proud of my students who do better than me. Yeah. So I think like what Esther said, your personal growth, you know, all this attitudes. I hope I don't know, you know, I'm not your mom. I'm Auntie Grace. I hope you know you get this kind of inspiration somehow. You know, after attending the unit, I would actually keep telling students that yes, economics may not be your cup of tea. Yeah, honestly, you know, your strength could be elsewhere, and if you don't do well, honestly, it's fine as long as you try your very best. You know, I do not think any differently between, let's say, a HD student and the students that do not score well. What's more important is your attitudes in life. Yeah, your attitude. And I'm recently into happiness. I have a working paper with Jason on happiness. Yeah, I'm a big fan of happiness. You know, I think if you're happy, many things are achievable if you're optimistic, honestly. And you know, as a student, even at work, you will become a lot more productive. And you know, what do we pursue in our life? At the end of the day, is it money? Is it fame and all that? Isn't that the ultimate goal? Isn't it happiness?
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's like the cheapest thing, you know, like you control your own happiness level, right? And if you're happy, you can actually, you know, whatever you study, you can absorb better, right? And so I'm really hoping, you know, that I can spread this kind of positive energy to my students. I'm remembered as someone who's positive, who's encouraging, who's happy. Okay, and when you're down, think about my philosophy and and move on.
Yeah, that's nice. I think that's time, right, Adrian? Yeah.
Are the questions live?
No, they're not live. We asked like throughout the week.
All right. We have live rules.
We asked like from Monday, I posted like Instagram stories asking for questions. Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to add something. Well, maybe alongside what Grace had just mentioned. For management, I do get students coming to see me when they are probably about their second year or so, because they found that they couldn't really cope with certain specializations like accounting, finance. They do express like they are being pressured by their parents to take up this specialization, so they do not know what to do because they failed in many of the units. So for me, I really welcome them with open arms. And I don't see management as something like a second choice and all that. But I have to say that it really depends on individuals. Some students are more inclined for more written kind of work, presentation, different nature of units. So it doesn't mean that because you fail in certain specialized units, that means you really are, you're not as good as others. So so that's something that I always feel that I need to do, to remind them to not to be subjected to these thoughts, and consider other alternatives, because there could be some other specialization that may fit them better in terms of their way of studying, the nature of the unit.
I think especially for the first year student with the core units, it's like they're so different from each other, and the way you study them is very different.
Yes.
So like for me, like I do econometrics and economy. Law was the hardest thing. I cannot remember the case names.
Yeah, I agree.
But some students who like major in law, they'd find econometrics or like 1000 to be the hardest unit ever. That was like for me the easiest, right? So it really depends on I think
Yes.
your personal
That's the point of making them
aptitude.
compulsory, I guess.
Yeah. Figure out what you want.
Everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone
But yeah.
equally suffer.
Yeah, I remember when my daughter was in primary school, she showed me a cartoon. You probably have seen it in the social media. You know, she showed me the cartoon, and yeah, I'm always reminded of that. So there's this cartoon, right? With I think with a fish, with a monkey, with elephant. Okay, and then there's an examiner standing in front of the animals, and I think the exam question was like, okay, now climb up that tree.
Ah. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
monkey is going to win, correct?
Yeah.
But
Right.
if the exam question was to swim, okay, and that would be the fish expertise. But unfortunately, right, you know, so in other words, it's telling us, I think that message is pretty powerful, and I remember it until now. I'm
Yeah.
I'm surprised that she would show me, you know, like probably telling me, my mom, don't expect too much. I'm that, okay, now the exam question is climbing tree, I'm a fish.
I think
Yeah.
it's based on an
Yes.
Albert Einstein quote, right?
Yeah, so,
It's like,
you know,
yeah.
like all the students are very
yeah.
different, but the exam question is the same for everyone.
Yeah.
So in fact, right, you can see it as being very unfair. So if you don't do that well, that's perfectly all right. It just means that
Yeah.
you are not that monkey, you are that elephant.
And I know
Yeah.
people who even like
yeah.
they can study well and they remember well, they just don't take exam well. Like it's not
Yeah.
even about like they can do
Yeah.
the questions in class or like when we just talk normally they would know, but just in exam they like would like the pressure or like the it just they clam up a bit and like maybe they get nervous and like so they would forget things and stuff. So I think it's difficult. My problem has
Yeah.
always been like remembering names. I'm so bad at remembering names.
And you are
Anything with,
in
like-
one of the top universities, remember that.
Yeah.
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 So that's what I told my students also. If you happen to be in another university that is not as reputable, you might have been one of those, you know, very
Yep.
excellent performers. But because we choose to be here and we are here, and I always remember that because my daughter, even now, she just switched to the Wesley International School, and it's very rigorous academically, and she hasn't been doing too well. But I always remember that, you know, because you choose to be here and you are among all the top students, and therefore you are struggling. But if you happen to be in another, you know, normal school, you know, that's not as rigorous, then you might be one of the top students.
Yeah.
When she was in her primary school during the later years, she was one of the top 5 or so. So, but yeah, it really depends. And when she was in New Zealand, when I was doing my research in New Zealand during my sabbatical, she was studying there, and there's no exam, nothing, and she was just playing around, and nobody is going to look at you and say, why are you getting these grades?
She got many awards too when she was in New Zealand. Yeah,
Yeah. They are very
right?
affirmative, you know, in a lot of things that you do as an attitude. I mean, in terms of your attitude, your swimming, you know, like because you try hard enough, so that they recognize not so much on the outcome. So it began to help me to realize that, hey, it's not that my daughter is anyone, you know, weaker than others. It's basically the context.
Yeah.
When you're in a different culture, different educational philosophy and all that, she can be different. But, you know, so don't see yourself as like, you know, something so, this performance as something so objective that, you know, that I'm not good enough. You know, it really depends on the institution.
Yep.
The culture. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, I think we're already over time. We don't want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to
on and
waste.
on, you
Like,
know.
yeah, I'm sure you guys are busy.
Yeah. So
No, we set aside this day for you. Wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's been
We
really
appreciate
great
it a lot.
to talk to so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
let me tell
fun.
you, actually this morning I got up at 6 something, sent my son to British Council for his IELTS exam. I don't know why he needed like TOEFL, IELTS, and next
Oh,
weekend will be
wow.
SAT. Yeah, so
Oh,
his
wow.
it will be until 12:30, and I even actually thought about bringing my laptop there, but I think the background noises, I don't know, I didn't, yeah, so I came back, and now I'm going to go back to
fetch him.
no, he has another listening session at 3:30, so he will finish at 12:30, and yeah, I'll bring my work there, and we will probably do work together in Starbucks or wherever cafe. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
I enjoyed our. I don't know, we've been chit-chatting non-stop. I hope
yeah, it's really fun.
The topic frame that you have been looking for.
I know.
Yeah.
And we got a bonus as well, Nazirul's baby. Wow.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was so
Last time we met, I made a human.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
Enjoy your day.
See you guys on campus soon.
Yeah. All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Happy weekend.
Bye.
Bye, Grace. Bye.
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 Debbie. Adrian, bye.
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 Adrian.
So, yep, that's it for today's episode, everyone. Well, just listening from the lecturers, it's definitely tough to embrace this new change, but, as what Dr. Esther said, you just need to brainwash yourself to accept the uncertainties around you and, to just embrace it to the fullest of your potential. Life is different for everybody, but hey, we just do our best as, as we continue to combat this pandemic. So anything you want to add on, Debbie?
No, today's been fun. I hope we do this again. And if you guys want to hear anything particular or you have any ideas for future podcasts, please let us know. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for listening.